What is up? What is up? YouTube, check it out. Melina, we at Melina's channel, man. She breaks it down, baby. I gotta give it to her. She breaks it all the way down. Beyonce warned Jay-Z about Diddy years ago. I'm trying to learn how to put some emphasis in what I'm saying. You feel me? Y'all know Uncle Mike crazy, right? Hey, that's why he's staying quiet. I can't even read the damn thing. I ain't put the, I never was a great reader, man. I don't give a shit. I mean, shoot. And I can't remember to stop cussing because I don't give a shit. Anyway, check it out, man. Beyonce warned Jay-Z about Diddy years ago. Is that why he's staying quiet? Is that why he's staying quiet? See, I did it better that time. I wasn't concentrating on the emphasis. Anyway, check it out, man. Let's give her a thumbs up and everything, man. This sister rolling, man. I got to give it to her, man. Hey, shout out to her. Y'all hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell. Let's check this bad boy.
With Mr. Combs' case. Mr. Carter has nothing to do with Mr. Combs' case or Mr. Combs. They knew each other professionally for a number of years. There is no closer association between any of them. He doesn't know anything about the charges or allegations against him. He has nothing to do with that case.
Why is Jay-Z, the king of hip hop, dead silent when his so-called brother, Diddy, is drowning in a cesspool of allegations? Is he dodging the heat because he's guilty? Or is there something darker at play? Stick around, because we're ripping the lid off of this decades-long relationship. And trust me, the truth will leave your jaw on the floor.
Years and hits. And this is extended family. You've been there with me through my ups and downs. Whenever I get in trouble, this is the one I call. It's my strategist.
When I get in trouble, this is who I call.
Mr. Carter has nothing to do with Mr. Combs' case or Mr. Combs. There is no closer association between any of them. That's also a matter of fiction.
Oh, she got that in there. I thought I was hearing Kendrick Lamar. I was like, what?
This is my brother.
Mr. Carter has nothing to do with Mr. Combs' case or Mr. Combs. There is no closer association between any of them. That's also a matter of fiction. That's all that there is. He doesn't know anything about the charges or allegations against him. He has nothing to do with that case. And there's nothing more to say.
Beyonce and Jay.
Yeah.
I know that you are pretty close to them.
Yes.
I wonder, have you been able to reach out? Have you been able to say anything to them?
Definitely. It's a big moment for like our whole crew, our whole inner circle,
We need to dive into the shady silence of Jay-Z as Sean Diddy Combs faces a firestorm of sex trafficking, racketeering, and assault allegations. These two titans of hip-hop have been tighter than a drum for decades. Parties, collabs, business deals, you name it. So why, when Diddy's empire is crumbling, is Hove, acting like he never knew the guy? We're unpacking their history, dissecting the receipts, and asking the questions the mainstream won't. Is Jay-Z distancing himself to save his own skin? Or is he hiding something so explosive it could torch his legacy? Get ready for a wild ride, because this one's going to hit hard. Oh, and if you're new here, guys, make sure you smash that subscribe button and the like one, because I'm pretty sure this one's going to get censored, or some of you guys are going to be unsubscribed. You're like, Melanie, where are your videos? Because this can get a little controversial. And we know, based on what happened with Piers Morgan, Jay-Z and Beyonce will shut you down fast.
The reality of the modern world is that pretty much everyone has a platform as long as there's something to say that other people want to hear. That's why we invited her on to be interviewed. The people making these claims have an audience with or without shows like mine. Well, Jay, you were right, unexpectedly made several serious allegations about Jay-Z and Beyonce during that interview. As I said in the moment, they were not present to respond or defend themselves, but now they have. Their lawyers contacted us to say that those claims were totally false and have no basis in fact, and we've therefore complied with the legal request to cut them from the original interview. Editing interviews is not something we do lightly at a show called Uncensored. But, like the proverbial cries of fire in a crowded theatre, there are legal limits on us too, and we apologise to Jay-Z and Beyonce.
This must have been shocking to you that somebody comes on a show and then kind of levels these vague-ish allegations. Were you kind of ready for something like this to eventually happen?
Listen, there's rumors and then there's nonsense, and this is one step further, right? This is a pointed and formal accusation of something, and I felt it needed to be responded to. So I think somebody reported it was a cease and desist. It wasn't that. It was quite bluntly an ultimatum, which is remove that false accusation that's demonstrably false, or a court's going to order you to. And so I think he made the wise choice and acted accordingly.
He meaning Piers Morgan.
Removing it and apologizing for it, yes.
Let's rewind the clock to paint the picture of Jay-Z and Diddy's unbreakable bond, because this isn't just some casual acquaintance we're talking about. This is a decades-long alliance that's been the backbone of hip-hop's elite. Back in the 1990s, when Sean Combs was building his Bad Boy Records empire and Sean Carter was rising as a lyrical genius of Rockefeller, these two were already orbiting each other. They weren't just peers. They were power players who partied together, schemed together, and dominated the charts together. Think about it. Diddy's infamous white parties in the Hamptons. Jay-Z was a staple, rubbing shoulders with A-listers while champagne flowed. Their collabs like Young G's in 1997 and I Know in 2007 weren't just tracks. They were statements of mutual respect of two moguls saying, we run this thing. Now, fast forward to the 2000s, and their ties deepened even further. Jay-Z's Rock Nation and Diddy's business ventures cross paths constantly. Fashion lines, liquor brands, you name it. They responded courtside at NBA games, laughing like brothers. And when Diddy threw his legendary freak-off parties, there were whispers and rumors, not confirmed, that Jay-Z was always in the VIP section of these things. So let's be real here. These two weren't just friends. They were comrades in the game, building empires side by side. Why does this matter? Because when someone is this close to you gets hit with federal charges and a laundry list of lawsuits, you don't just stay quiet unless you've got a reason. Now let's talk about the storm engulfing Diddy, because you guys know it's no minor scandal. We've been covering it. But this is a career-ending catastrophe. In September 2024, as you know, Sean Combs was arrested on federal charges, the racketeering, the sex trafficking, the transportation for prostitution, and allegations that sent shockwaves through the industry. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. When Cassie Ventura, Diddy's ex-girlfriend, dropped the bombshell lawsuit in November 2023, accusing him of years of physical abuse, sexual coercion, and forcing her into freak-off events, guys, like these explicit parties, no one, including Jay-Z, Beyonce, Ellen, Oprah, Ashton Kutcher, like the list goes on and on, Leonardo DiCaprio, all of these people who were close to Diddy, tied to him, have been dead silent. And I have keep talking about that, keep hammering on that, because to me, the silence is deafening. It speaks volume. And while Diddy was facing all of these different lawsuits, well, then Jay-Z's name happened to be thrown in. But there's a catch to it. In December of 2024, last year, there was a Jane Doe lawsuit, which dragged Jay-Z into this mess, accusing both him and Diddy of graping a 13-year-old girl at an after party of it was back in 2000 at an MTV Music Awards.
Come on. Hey. Okay. Let's go. Hey. That's right. That's right. Hey. Let's break it down. The Music Recording Network going to put in the work. Uncle Mike can't flow, but he's good to go. Hey, built his own studio. Let the people know we are funky, fresh, dressed and impressed, ready to party, baby. Hey, funky. All the times you see them together all the
Now,
times that's
that
clever.
case looked very shady. There's a lot to unpack, but just know that it was dismissed, this lawsuit, in 2025. And him and his lawyer, Jay-Z, were saying this was a blackmail attempt, especially because this accuser had hired Tony Busby. And Tony Busby, if you know, he has a reputation of going after high-profile men and filing lawsuits from multiple victims. It's usually not just one, but it's multiple victims over some type of alleged sexual indiscretion, whether it can be Deshaun Watson with the massages, it can be, as serious as a lot of his clients, or actually dozens of them, are suing Diddy, but then also the allegations that are made against Jay-Z. But this is the thing. When you scratch the surface, there really wasn't anything there, at least from what we can tell now, because the victim ended up retracting. There were some investigators who found out where she lived. There's a whole mess with it, but just know the lawsuit was dropped and Jay-Z seemingly cleared his name. But did he clear his name, or did this go away in order to hide something even bigger than Diddy? Okay, because I would say Jay-Z is much more tapped in. I would say even higher up, just even him and Beyonce being together than even Diddy was. And he has a lot more to lose. But not only that, Jay-Z is much more political than Diddy ever was. Jay-Z has never been flashy as far as having parties. And, famously, they barely give any interviews, him and Beyonce. But Diddy, he was happy to showcase his life. He was throwing around cash, doing Vogue interviews, always having these big parties, always been loud, out there doing the most. Really was putting all of his business on Front Street. Well, not all of it, because we didn't know some things, but he was very loud with it. But in recent years, you will see Jay-Z and Beyonce have really dialed back being seen with at any of his parties or pictured with him or doing any kind of party. So when I say Jay-Z moves smarter, he's more tapped into the elites. He's more tapped into the power players where, because of how he carries himself and the secrecy surrounding him and his relationship with Beyonce. Diddy, a lot of people are saying he became a sacrificial lamb for a lot of reasons, or he was thrown to the wolves, or his name was out there because he's the person that did the most egregious things in terms of publicly that we could see. And especially when it comes to these parties, these white parties and these different parties he would have, not just the white parties, that a lot of times ended up with freak-offs. And Diddy made it his mission to have all of these celebrities around him all the time and name dropping. He's just a very flashy guy. And he talks a lot. The opposite is when you look at Jay-Z, it's the complete opposite. So whether there is something about Jay-Z, we don't know everything, just there's rumors and things that have come out throughout the years. But overall, Diddy is a more public facing, and that therefore it makes him a bigger target. Now, here's where it gets really suspicious. Jay-Z isn't just some bystander in Diddy's drama. His name is all over the allegations. And that's not something you can just brush off. The Jane Doe lawsuit from 2000 didn't just mention Jay-Z. It directly accused him of participating in a heinous act alongside Diddy. Even though the case was dropped, which I want to make that clear, the fact that someone thought that they could pin that on Jay-Z suggests there could be some smoke. And a lot of times where there is smoke, there's fire. Then there's the Joseph Manzaro lawsuit from this year, April, in 2025, which claimed that Jay-Z and Beyonce were witnesses to a freak-off party where Manzaro was allegedly drugged and assaulted by Diddy. That suit was then suddenly amended right away and removed Jay-Z and Beyonce's name. But why were they mentioned in the first place?
Yeah.
And get this. This man says that this took place on Star Island, where Gloria Estefan lives. Also, Diddy lives there as well on Star Island. And it's just a weird connection. Beyonce, Jay-Z, Diddy, and then Gloria Estefan? Like, where did that come from?
Jay-Z and Gloria Estefan denying new claims they witnessed a man being abused at one of Sean Diddy Combs' freak-off parties.
You're going to hear about my party. They're going to probably be arresting me. People from all walks of life.
Jay-Z talking to, you know what I'm saying? It just goes on and on.
That alleged freak-off reportedly happened in 2015 at both Gloria and husband Emilio Estefan's Miami mansion and Diddy. That's where a new accuser claims he was sexually assaulted and humiliated by Diddy. Beyonce, Jay-Z, and Gloria all witnessed his abuse, but allegedly did nothing.
Yeah, let's skip over that.
Okay. I don't like it at all.
I could not believe what I was hearing.
What did Manzaro see that made him think Jay-Z was involved? But let's not forget Tony Busby's saga, okay? Busby, the lawyer behind, like I said, all of these lawsuits against Diddy, well, he was forced to withdraw from over a dozen cases after Jay-Z filed a grievance against him in March of 2025, effectively shutting him down in the New York courts. Coincidence? Or is Jay-Z flexing his real power, not like Diddy, his real power to silence anyone who gets too close? These aren't isolated incidents. These are patterns, and they paint a picture of a man who's not just staying quiet, but actively working to keep his name out of the mud. Why go to such great lengths if you've got nothing to hide? Now, there's also a lot, I'm not going to get to this video I made down the line. I know some of you are going to mention these things about Jay-Z cheating on Beyonce for years, having secret love child, maybe having someone unalived. Again, guys, those are rumors. We can get into Abramovich. I can never remember her name. I think it's Marina Abramovich, going all the way back to pizza. And, you know, there was a gate at one point. What I think I'm going to have to cover that topic on my Patreon, because if you even mention certain things on YouTube, like I said, they will shut me down. They might delete me completely. Who knows? So again, I will be putting together a Patreon to talk about these different things, because there's some deep dives that if we start pulling it up, it's going to get really, really messy fast. And let's dig, guys, into the $1 million question. Why hasn't Jay-Z said a single word about Diddy's downfall? This isn't some random rapper he happened to cross paths with once or twice. This is a man he called a friend, a collaborator, a partner for over 20 years. When your boy is facing life-altering charges, you'd expect some kind of statement, right? Like, I'm praying for justice. I'm praying for Diddy. Hope things work out. Diddy's my guy. He's innocent. But instead, we get crickets. Like every other celebrity who was very close to him and loved being seen with him, collabing with him, doing business deals, wanting a shout out, begging to get into his white parties for decades. All of these people suddenly don't have a single word to say. And it's Hollywood overall, who claims to stand up for women, to stand up for victims. Think about the Me Too era, or when there's just something that they can probably get some, cool points on, where they can virtue signal in the press or on social media, then they may say something. But right now, it is dead silent. And like I said, Diddy and Jay-Z were thick as thieves.
As for Jay-Z, his rep tells ET he wasn't in Florida at that time to witness this incident. He was engaged in easily findable public activities that prove he was not at this event, adding, "This is more nonsense that erodes the trust in our justice system."
A lot of times people say things because they don't want to get themselves in a PR disaster. They can't be, write a check.
The new claims come months after a woman dropped a lawsuit against Jay-Z alleging he raped her 15 years ago. The rap mogul has denied her claims and is now suing her for defamation.
And just when you thought this couldn't get any shadier, Joe Tacopino, the high-profile attorney and tied to Roc Nation, dropped a bombshell this year in February that flipped the script. On The Breakfast Club, Tacopino revealed that he turned down representing Diddy because of his loyalty to Jay-Z and Roc Nation. But here's the gut punch. He hinted that Jay-Z and Diddy's relationship isn't what it seems. They're not as close as people think, he said, suggesting there's bad blood or at least some deliberate distance. But wait, what? These two have been parading around as hip-hop royalty, inseparable for decades. And now we're supposed to believe they're not tight anymore? Now that Diddy's is on trial? Now that he has these charges? Is Jay-Z trying to rewrite history, making it seem like he was never part of Diddy's world? Or is this a calculated leak, a way to signal that Jay-Z's been dodging Diddy's drama for years? I doubt it, but again, this could have just been a throwaway comment, or was 𝗟𝗓𝗡𝗞𝗨 sent there to make sure he said that? Because he is a lawyer, he's an attorney, and has represented Jay-Z, or at least Roc Nation. So he's not going to speak out of turn as an attorney unless he has permission to, unless he's allowed to say certain things. So why say that during there unless there's something more calculated? Because people know they have been tight for decades. And you're saying there's no freak off tapes. There's nothing going on. There's nothing tied to the Black Boule. There's nothing tied to, Freemasons or any of that. Again, guys, we're not getting too much into it because we got to take that to Patreon. But when you start to look at all the allegations that have come out against Diddy, the closeness of Jay-Z and he and Jay-Z, how can you not ask questions? How can we not think there's not freak off tapes, or that he was part of it, or that somehow, you're telling me every single one of these people that were close to Diddy, every single celebrity, every business person, all of these people, not a single one saw a thing. They all left the party early. This is one thing that people are saying too, like Jamie Foxx and a couple other people. Like, listen, I always left Diddy's parties early. I don't even like baby oil. He even alluded to baby oil being on pizza, which is wild. But I covered that in another video. But you're telling me nobody had a clue, and now they're all distancing themselves. They're not as close as it seemed for decades. Now that this has dropped, listen, he had nothing to do with it. What do you mean? Like, that's a ridiculous thing, Melanie. You're just a conspiracy theorist. We've got to cut through the noise and get to the heart of this mess. Jay-Z's silence isn't an accident. It's a decision, a calculated one, but it's backfiring spectacularly.
Big time.
When you're a global icon with a platform bigger than most governments, choosing to say nothing while your lifelong friend faces these type of charges, it isn't just cowardice. It's a neon sign that you've got something to hide. Why should we care about this, right? This isn't just celebrity gossip. It's not just about Jay-Z and Diddy. It's about power, accountability, and the truth. If someone as untouchable as Sean Carter can dodge scrutiny, what does that say about the rest of the system he's built? Every day he stays quiet, he's betting his legacy against the truth, and the clock's ticking. The danger? If even one more lawsuit, one more witness, one more leak ties him closer to Diddy's alleged crimes, that empire that he's built could come crashing down. Now, Jay-Z's not just distancing himself from Diddy, he's running from him. And in 2025, with the world now watching and looking at this trial, running is not an option. I think this is a wake-up call. No one is above the law. Will he actually speak before it's too late? Of course, I don't think he would, because I think he has bigger ties than even Diddy. Like I said, kind of in like my little bit of a rant. If you look at Jay-Z and how he moves, how Beyonce moves, they are quiet with the things that they do. Like, they're not flashy in terms of partying and putting everything in Front Street, at least recently. I would say for most of their careers. Diddy, he's been the opposite. Loud, brash, bragging, wanting to be front and center, want everybody to be close to him. Now, there is a theory and there is a lot of credence to it. I've talked about it before, so I'm not going to go again. I always say I talked about something. I'm not going to go into it, but guys, this would go on for 3 hours. But I will say that the blackmail that Diddy was doing, where he had cameras in every single room, hallway, bathrooms, even outside, multiple angles in different rooms, that Diddy was getting all of this footage of people when he would have parties, when people would come over, a lot of it catching illegal activity, maybe freak offs, and even more things that are deeply disturbing. If you think about it, the way that happened, the way Diddy set that up, it was in order to get blackmail on all of his so-called friends, all of his buddies, all of his business acquaintances. And it is believed that is why there is a code of silence, because Diddy has information on all of them, but it wasn't just for him. There are rumors that Diddy was actually a federal informant. He's even been on trial, before. He's faced charges. Rumors about him and his nefarious dealings have been going on for years. There have been deaths with pneumonia and other things that have been linked back to him. The list goes on and on. And if you know how the government works, how they set up even the FBI, they use blackmail in order to control politicians, celebrities, music artists. Like the list goes on and on in order for them to do what they want them to do, in order for them to steer in the direction that they want. We know these things to be fact. I talk about the book, One Nation Under Blackmail, the two books, One Nation Under Blackmail, Volume 1 and 2 by Whitney Webb, and how she outlines by facts, by government documents, these are all facts. This isn't rumors or speculation on how the government started this whole blackmail ring. Sexual blackmail is what they'll do. And that is how they control people, through their deviancy, or actually they will catch them in things and get blackmailed that way. But then they would catch them in things, or they would have a predilection or a taste for some things and set up, so-called freak offs and record it in order to control that person. We've heard it over and over. So there's a lot of questions, if Diddy has something on Jay-Z, or Jay-Z is part of that network. Is it all controlled by the government? We don't know. But there has been a lot of research done, credible research, to show that this is how it works. So why wouldn't Diddy be part of that? Why wouldn't Jay-Z be part of that? Think about it. When you start to tie these things together, and then also Whitney Webb painstakingly details how Jeffrey Epstein and Diddy were cut from the same cloth and have the same connections, the same handlers, that's when you start to realize this thing is deeper than we think. So again, I'm not making any allegations. I'm asking questions. I'm thinking out loud. I don't know if any of it is true. Okay. But shouldn't we be allowed to ask these questions without getting censored, without getting shut down, without facing the fear of these elites, these rich and powerful, trying to shut us down and control us? If you are sick of the narrative of, we see the headlines, we see what's going on, and the mainstream media feeds us one narrative, but then on the back end, we've heard rumors for years. We've seen gossip for years. We've heard witnesses. We've seen evidence. We're on social media talking. We're looking at all of the things add up. And then the mainstream media, they're feeding us one narrative, but we're like, what about all of this other stuff that's went on? Just like in Diddy's trial. He's facing the racketeering, the prostitution, the sex trafficking, all of that. But there are actual deaths, which I've outlined, that have close ties to Diddy, that he's been alleged of committing for decades. And he's just gotten away with it all. And this is the only thing that they're charging him with. Something is not sitting right. So if you are tired of them feeding us the narrative that they want, while ignoring the truths that a lot of us have seen, or at least the rumors that have our minds spinning, make sure you're subscribed, hit the notification bell, because we're going to keep exploring these topics, as well as staying on the Diddy trial and many other things. So I appreciate you guys, and I will see you on the next one.
Man, they said, you can imagine how much stuff this man done hid from everybody. They said around the time that Whitney Houston OD'd and died, I thought OD was, when you say somebody OD, that means they died. Apparently, or passed away, should I say. You got to watch what you say on this. Apparently, Diddy OD'd also, but he didn't pass away. He didn't expire. That's the word I think they use on the YouTube channels. It's a lot, man. I found out watching and checking all this out that at once upon a time, when I knew Diddy back in Howard University days, and when he went to New York and started Bad Boy and all that, he was a healthy type guy, didn't smoke, didn't drink, none of that type of stuff. You would never see Puffy with no cigarettes and stuff. For years, I think at least 20 years, the last 10 years, You'll see him, he was smoking weed in pictures and videos and stuff like that. So, man, something ain't right. Because, you know, I've been off and on, you know, I got a job, I got to work or whatever. I've been off and on, I'm into this music thing. So I'm a music lover. And I'm like, I want to be part of Bad Boy and everything. I tried so bad, you know, then, you know, you get older and you give up. But then next thing you know, you realize something ain't right with this guy, man. So I'm here to tell y'all, man, you mean to tell me you a straight up angel? They holding you, 3 judges denied you bail. They didn't give you $50 million. What? They don't just hold you without no bail. I don't care if it's not the FBI. I don't care what kind of court it is. They don't just hold you 3 times with no bail and you an angel. Get the fuck out of here, man. Hey, y'all take it light, take it slow. Tell them Uncle Mike told you so. Peace out. You done did something, bro. You did something.